So, first of all, I would like to present my sincere apologize for the delay. I don't like to wait for anyone, so I'm really touched that you're waiting for me so long. I would like to present my greetings to everyone here, and I would like also to present all my gratitude to Zélia and Gonçalo for this most kind invitation. I would like to share with you some ideas, mainly in 3 points. The first point is about the importance of the dialogue between cultures and religions. I think from a Buddhist point of view, it is really important because we see all things, not just the cultures and religions, but we see all things in reality, all phenomena as connected. We don't see anything as being an entity and a separate entity. So, when we think about culture and religions, we must put ourselves the question if they really exist by themselves and in themselves. If there is a single culture or religion that we can think as really existing as a separate entity, not connected, not linked with all the other or the majority of the other cultures and religions. If we think that a culture and a religion can be a separate entity, we may tend to assume that there is a truth of itself and that there's some values that one culture, one religion has in itself separated from the others. And we can tend to think that we can even tend to think that our culture, our religion is the best one in the world, or at least is, or even that the only one who owns the truth. When instead we see all things as interconnected, interdependent, as we say in the Buddhist teachings, it's hard to believe that just one culture, just one religion can have some value in itself, separated from the others. And I think this kind of vision, the vision of the net, connecting, linking together all the cultures and all the religions, brings about more understanding, more tolerance, more acceptance of the others' ideas, the others' beliefs. So I think mainly nowadays we've got a strong challenge not to see neither ourselves, neither our cultures, neither our religions as separated from each other. If we get an historical point of view, if we think about the history of culture and of religion, we cannot say that Buddhism, Islamism, Judaism, Christianity, Baha'i and so on, Hinduism, that they appeared and they developed without connections, intimate connections with all the other cultures, with all the other religions. So this is the first point I would like to share with you, and try to propose a departing point for a debate. The second point is that and of course from the Buddhist point of view, all religions can be seen as different types of medicine that we need according to our different kinds of illnesses. I apologize, I'm not used to speak in English, but I'm not so used to sing in English, but I'm trying my best. So, of course, all we know that humankind suffers from different diseases. And from the Buddhist point of view, the main disease we are suffering is the disease of suffering itself. From the Buddhist point of view, we see that humankind is getting all the time, or most of the time, the opposite of what we all seek in our lives. I think we all seek in our lives well-being, pleasure, happiness, and frequently we find the opposite of that. And we can think of this as a kind of disease. We are getting what we don't want to. So, from the Buddhist point of view, all kinds of religions can be seen as different kinds of therapies for the different diseases we are suffering. From this point of view, it is hard to imagine that just one kind of medicine could be convenient, could be good for everybody, could work for everyone. We are all different. We have different cultural backgrounds. We have different personal backgrounds. We have different traditional and historical backgrounds. And so our ways of feeling happy and unhappy, even if they are in the crucial points very common, they are different in many points of view. So maybe we should try different kinds of medicine to heal ourselves. And what I think about religions is that every kind of religion is a different kind of medicine for different people in different places, in different times, in different historical times, in different cultures. From this point of view, we Buddhists, as I have lots of times heard from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, we should see every religious founder, every founder of other religions as a doctor who is giving to a certain kind of people in a certain place, in a certain point of history, a certain point of time, who is giving the kind of medicine, the kind of pill, if I could speak like this, that is convenient for that people, for that person, for that country, and so on. From this point of view, we cannot pretend that the medicine, the pill that one religious founder has given to someone in a certain point of time and place could work, could do some good for everyone in every time, in every place. So we have to see the relativity of all this, even when we speak of religion. Of course, sometimes it's difficult for us when we have have strong beliefs, because religion tends to present us with the values we tend to believe as the most important values. It's hard for us, it's hard for the believers to see their own religion from this point of view. It's hard for me sometimes to accept that Buddhism is not the best medicine for everyone, as it is hard, of course, for a Christian and others to accept that Christianity is not the best for everyone in the world. But I suppose that our world is defying us to accept this more and more. If we want to develop a culture of tolerance and acceptance, and not a culture of imposition, of imposing our own beliefs on others, of not an imperialist culture. So this is the second point. And the third point is, and I would like to make a strong emphasis. I don't know if I can say this in English. Emphasis. You understand? Yeah. Emphasis on this. The third point is that if we want to be a better person, if we want to give our best to the dialogue between cultures and religions, we don't even have to be a religious person. We don't have to have religious ideas or beliefs. We can even be an atheist or an agnostic. From the Buddhist point of view, from my point of view at least, when I speak of Buddha, I speak and I think of something that is at the same time our most intimate, our innermost nature, the innermost nature of all sentient beings, not just humans, but all sentient beings. And even the innermost nature, the core, the real core of all phenomena, not just animate phenomena, but even inanimate phenomena. So when I think of Buddha nature, I think of it like this. When I think of it like this, I think of something that goes far beyond our thoughts, our concepts, our words, our religious beliefs, our religious ideas, our philosophical ideas. Something that goes far beyond all our concepts, even my Buddhist concepts. So, what's the problem of thinking of an atheist, of an agnostic, as being even nearer, even closer to this innermost nature of whole than myself? I cannot pretend as a Buddhist to be closer to the nature of reality than an atheist or an agnostic or a Christian or a Baha'i or everyone else. Reality is something that is common to all of us. Reality is as common to all of us as our suffering, our happiness, our well-being, and all our emotions and feelings and experiences. This is our human heritage. This is something that we all share in common. Reality is the most common of things. It's a communist thing, I would say, far beyond any ideological idea. Reality is common. So, how could I pretend that a Buddhist or is closer to this common reality than any other one, than someone that is this or that, or doesn't even think of himself or herself as being this or that, as being atheist or agnostic or Christian or whatever we can think about. So this is the third point. The great relativity of all our beliefs, of all our concepts, religious and not religious, when we confront them with reality. Of course, the same idea of reality from the Buddhist point of view can be seen as also a concept. And this is this is something that is maybe quite specific in Buddhism. We don't pretend even that reality exists. We speak of shunyata, we speak of emptiness. When we speak of the ultimate nature of everything, of all phenomena, we call it shunyata, which is a word, of course, a word on the edge to express what is behind all kinds of words, all kinds of concepts. When I think, when I feel, when I experience reality as shunyata, as emptiness, as devoid of anything that I can that I can think about, that I can grasp with my conceptual thought, I cannot pretend that Buddhists are closer to it than others. And I think this is a good experience to promote the dialogue between cultures, the dialogue between religions. It is a very nice exercise, I think. I think at least it is a very healthy exercise to think of God, to think of Buddha, to think of Allah, to think of Brahman, to think of Krishna, whatever, as just words, just concepts. We are using, of course, trying to express something that is not caught in those words, that is not caught in those concepts. So often I think that, of course, and maybe this is just the fourth point. Often I think that, of course, as I said in the beginning, the dialogue is very important. It's really precious, but maybe even more precious than the dialogue between religion and church is the capacity to sit together, to be together, to feel each other together, experiencing in the experience of silence. In Portugal, in Lisbon at least, we are doing some meetings, some inter-religious meetings, but there we don't speak before we sit together in silent meditation. We sit together there in silent meditation during 25 minutes, and then we speak, we share our experience. But often it happens that after 25 minutes sitting together in silence, when comes the time to speak, we don't have much to say. And at the same time, we are telling each other lots of things, but not using words. We are telling each other that we can see, we can be together, we can sit together, we can be peaceful together, just in silence. Maybe it's easier to sit together peacefully in silence than speaking, because when we speak, as we all know, it often brings us to all our usual interpretations, all our usual habits and patterns of thought, and we tend to divide what is not divided. We tend to see things separate when things and people and ourselves really are not separate. So this is the points of I would like to share with you, and I'll do my best if you would like to put some questions to try to answer. I'm not certain I can answer, but I can try to answer. So.
Should we ask questions now or?
Yeah, if you like. You propose this.
So ask a question.
Why me? You want to ask something?
A moment, if listen to Eduardo first, and after,
Okay.
if anyone wants to say something, and if we stop saying things, we can do the answers after. We can introduce.
Okay, more debate or communication process.
Agree with everything that was said. I would just would like to share a thought that is brought by Baha'i faith as Baha'u'llah, which is new because it came in the 19th century, so it's more close to our time. He spoke about a concept, and this is also a concept. We cannot hold in a word the reality of things, but we try to understand things and concepts and reality. And this concept is progressive revelation, which means that this big reality that is beyond words, that is light, that is energy, that is force, that we may call God, sometimes chooses a person. And this is all connected, this is not, it is linked with everything before and will be linked with everything in the future. So it's not a separate phenomenon. He chooses in each time a teacher, a doctor, someone that tells us new things about reality. One person was Muhammad, another is Jesus Christ, another Baha'u'llah. And Baha'u'llah brought us this new concept of progressive revelation. That means that this reality that is beyond words, that we can call God, and which is sovereign in silence too. He chooses porta-palavras, people that special. They are not common people. They are special people. They Baha'u'llah speak about three reigns of existence: the human reign, this manifestation of God reign, and the God reign itself. So this Buddha, Jesus Christ, Muhammad, Baha'u'llah belong to this in-between reign of existence. That is the reign of existence of the manifestation of God. the transformers that bring the energy to the lamp. We have small lamps. The big power plant is gone. And there is the transformer that brings knowledge to the lamps. And this progressive revelation concept says that God chooses these special people that are in that rank, that position of in between the lamps and the power plant, to give us knowledge and it concepts. And he uses revelation. Revelation is where what we can find in the sacred writings, like Bible, the Quran, or the sacred writings of. And revelation is what in a time people needs to know. Baha'u'llah came in 19th century. His message is for nowadays. And this concept of progressive revelation is very, very central because it helps to understand, as Paul Bosch said, that all these big messages are connected, are in fact receiving the light and the knowledge from the same power plant, and are like chapters of a big book that we can call the big book of Revelation of God. And these chapters come by revelation as a big book, as we could put the holy writings of Buddha together with the holy writings of Christ, together with the Quran and the Baha'i writings, all in the big book. And this brings revelation. And the revelation has two kinds of teachings, of thoughts, of teachings: the social teachings and the spiritual teachings. The social teachings are teachings for each time. Like, for instance, Muhammad said, don't eat pork meat. This means for that time it was not healthy to eat, in the conditions of the desert, to eat pork, because we know pork deteriorates very easily and it was not good for people to eat at that time. So this is a social law, social teaching. Spiritual teachings are, like Muhammad said, to be tolerant with each other. This is a spiritual teaching. And it's very good, and it's good for everyone. I don't want to take too much of your time. I just wanted to share this. Thank you very much.
But I have a question for you. Revelation, what does it mean?
Revelation.
What is, I don't understand. Anyone that can...
Openbaring, svensk.
What?
Openbaring.
Ah.
So what does it mean in English?
I know in Swedish.
Progressive.
Levels?
Strada. This one, someone gets something from...
Enlightening.
Okay.
I didn't know that it gives electricity.
Evolution was talking about the species that, like Darwin's theory.
No, it's different.
I think, can I also share some thoughts? When I think of inter-religious or inter-cultural dialogue, of course the first impulse is to try to somehow create a common language. And I don't think we should do that, because the diversity is much more richer than one language. When we paint something, if we mix all the colors, we'll get a shitty brown that is ugly. It's much more nicer and beauty if we have the red and the yellow and the blue not mixed. So it's the tapestry that in the relation between the differences. I think it's more valuable and richer than try to explain something from one language. So I thought the exercise of silence, maybe it's a good exercise for telling that we shouldn't mix, but we have to understand everyone has his own place. That was my painting contribution.
We are silent, or
We're just waiting for something to happen.
Perhaps the challenge is having unity, diversity. But everyone can be diverse, it should be diverse. Still, we can get a unity in points, in sentence.
so
I think,
let's say
first of all, we need to be open to know about the other, who is the other, whatever the other, to know about him, to try to understand him. You know? Then there will be a possibility for a dialogue. But most of the time, we just think of a dialogue without understanding. You know, you cannot communicate. You cannot have a dialogue when you don't know how the other is thinking and why he is thinking in this way or the other. And most of the time, we think that we know about the others. We understand either about religion, about culture, whatever. He is from Portugal. I've been to Portugal for 5 days, and I know all about Portugal. You know? If someone asks me about Portugal, I will be, oh, I've been there, I know that they are very nice people, and it's a very beautiful country. And it is the same when we think of things more serious, more cultural. I think when we talk about religion or culture, it is not only one dimension that we are talking. It's not a simple picture, you know. Culture has different dimensions, and it's affected, and it's very impossible for me, I think, to understand of a definition for culture, for example. You know, when we want to talk about culture, we consider that like if I'm talking about simple thing, a piece of paper. Talking about culture as a piece of paper or as a glass. You know, it's easy to describe a glass, to define a glass, but to define a culture and to approach a culture, it is different, totally different story.
in short sum, it's like yeah, it's almost the same, but just a different approach, because the coexistence is important in our world. We cannot live without we exist together and have tolerance together. But just to think about it, that in each religion there is common, in all of them there is common teaching and common philosophy, common things together. But there is differences, and this is a differentiation between this religion and another. I believe in something, so it is my religion. The the other one is believing other things. That doesn't mean that I must push him to believe in what I believe in. It is his right to believe in whatever, and it is my right to believe in whatever. But in each religion there is some characteristics. There is the believing in the creation of the universe, the life and the teaching, and the end of the world. This is almost somehow they having the characteristics differentiate. So there is how to say it, to believe in the existence of a religion. That doesn't mean that we have to modify or to change it according to what we have, because it is something divine, something come from another axis that we have, something from God. It is not something that we created. So whatever the religion is, it is something that, as a believer, it is stay for forever somehow, not to be changed. But the existence of the other religions, it is acceptable. That's why there is existence between people. Not, but I mean, I'm believing in this today. That doesn't mean that tomorrow I have to change my religion to go to another group. I accept the existence of the others and to live together. But that doesn't mean that I have to change my beliefs or to push the other to change their beliefs. That's what I mean. I have parallel lines that could be together in the same circle, but not to interrelate it together. To have, I mean, to accept the existence of differences that will make coexistence and tolerance. But to have to like to make it link it together or to create it will make, like what Gonzalo said, it will make a non-accepted picture in the end. But to have different colors will be okay.
The question of the end of the world is a very interesting question, because this, I believe, is misinterpretation. Because what is in the writings, even in Islam or in the Bible, is related to the end of the time, which is not the end of the times, which is different.
Yeah, I understand.
The end of that time, the end of the time of that dispensation. Of
This era,
of
starting
that
with another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one.
May I just share my thoughts as we were speaking about interreligious dialogue. My first background is cultural anthropology, and I always was speaking about this from the point of view of cultural anthropologists, and telling that respect and coexistence is possible just in one case of raising knowledge about others. Just some changes, recent changes in my life show me that the raising the knowledge on the level to get respect based on it is not possible. My husband is Muslim, I'm Christian, but it doesn't mean that I know Islam. And I don't think that I have ever will know it to base my respect based on my knowledge. Respect should be developed on respect and openness and acceptance of different. It doesn't mean it is just religion, it doesn't mean of other differentiation. It should be, this openness is attitude, it is not knowledge.
Anyway, I think knowledge is also important.
It doesn't mean that I think that I should not know at all, but also I accept that I will never know it on the level to base my respect on knowledge.
Anyway, I would say that we should try harder to know about other beliefs, other ideas. I think one of the main problems of our time is not knowing about what others think. Of course, I agree with you that we should be open beyond knowledge, but at the same time, knowledge is really important. To respect others should respect their different ways of thinking. And we know lots about our own things, but it's difficult to make an effort to know more about other religions, other cultures. And I think that this here is defying all of us to a deepened knowledge about other cultures, about other religions. As I agree completely with Gonçalo that the great riqueza, richness of religion is on the very big differences between them. I wouldn't say that the idea of creation and the end either of the world or time is something shared in common by all religions. Because at least Buddhism and other ways of Taoism, for instance, they don't speak about creation. There's not a God outside the world that creates or created or creates continuously the world. This idea doesn't appear. And as there is no beginning, there is no end. Taoists, Buddhists don't see things as having a beginning and end. They see things as without beginning, without end. And it is important for Buddhists and Taoists to understand the point of view of those who believe in creation and in a creator. As it is important for a Christian or a Muslim to understand the Buddhist concept of shunyata, emptiness, the non-existing of things, the non-existence of things in themselves and by themselves. This is quite hard when we confront these very different ideas. But I think the future of interreligious dialogue depends on our capacity of doing our best and making an effort to understand religious and philosophical ideas so different between each other, so different among each other. Just something I would like to.
I agree. Knowledge is important. Love is one, but knowledge is also very important because if we don't know, we may have mis-ideas. And these mis-ideas sometimes leads to prejudice and separation.
In my point of view, I was studying philosophy before. It is a lot of different ideas. And people who are studying, they're getting a lot of knowledge. But knowledge doesn't mean that it gives respect. Sometimes you can see how people who have a lot of knowledge, they're making the biggest mess. But then this old person who's living somewhere outside totally the city, in a small village, he is talking with respect to anybody who is entering the house. So maybe this is the point, that you have to have respect to any human being. And then for you there is no difference, because you are talking to another person. Then you have dialogue.
I agree. Maybe we should think that love and understanding, love and knowledge, they must be brought together. They must be developed together, not separated. Not separated. I think that our culture, our Western culture, has separated a lot love and knowledge. It's one of our main problems. We think of love as one thing and knowledge as other thing. And maybe we should try to do our best to know, to develop a loving knowledge and a knowing love. Do you understand what I mean?
Just I am thinking that, you know, love sometimes it is too strong thing. Respect, it is different. You know,
Love
it's
is
like,
other step. Okay.
you can love him, it is not important, it is another feeling. Respect it is just when you're communicating. You know, for me it is interesting. But it doesn't mean that I have to totally to love somebody. So
Love has different levels, and I was speaking of loving as a kind of openness to others. That accepts others as they are.
Well, for me, I think why we talk about intercultural or interreligious dialogue, it's not that we need not to know about each other. I think we all agree that we need respect, that we need a knowledge and we need an attitude. But I think there is, it's the same with the religion or the culture. If we take Gonzalo example with the painting, I think the problem comes with the borders, not with mixing colors. We don't want to mix colors. We want it colorful. But then it comes with the borders. Who will decide if it's going to be more yellow or orange, green or red? I think that's a problem. And that's why we need to talk about dialogue. It's more a question.
Yeah, the problem I think with these meetings is before we came, we were already prepared for intercultural and interreligious dialogue. So in a way, we are agreeing with each other because we were prepared for this.
They're happy to meet.
But most of the world, they live in a red area, or we are in the borders. So we are kind of in the region when we accept each other. But the problem with in modern times, and probably in all history, with at least as we read in the books, is in the middle of the colors, when a blue person has to go to a red territory, and that creates a problem. Here we are in the borders. We were prepared for this, but probably if we made this meeting in a football game or downtown in the bar, we would create a conflict.
But then it comes. If there is, for example, in Lithuania, I take Lithuania, we don't have Muslims, for example. We have, of course. But we have, of course. But if we don't have, we don't hear. I mean, let it be. It's nice. Maybe I'm interesting. Maybe I would like to know a bit more or not. But it doesn't make me any problem. But if it comes at least to Muslims and it's my neighbors and they do different things, and then it's disturbing me. So then it comes the need of dialogue. Otherwise, there is no need. I think that globalization is also that makes us to think about it, because we are mixing, we're moving.
Last year we were in Krakow, and I was with a group from Portugal, from Cabo Verde, and we had a meeting with an old woman in the street, and she touched Wilson. She is completely black. Chocolate. She never saw this. She created a moment. Okay, she was loving because she was accepting, but this was one example, because it could be the other way. So there's a shock, a cultural shock.
And as well is this, getting into the comfort zone, yeah? Because I mean, if it's like like you're giving this example with visit in Poland, but then if it's getting like more and more, and you stopped understanding it and stop like it's getting into your comfort zone. I mean, I have the same situation that I was feeling extremely uncomfortable being in Egypt during the Ramadan. I spent the whole Ramadan in Egypt, and it really influenced my comfort zone. But it was not because I don't know I had the I was not eating or something like this. No, I just was looking at my friends, who was for me according to my values they were suffering, and I was feeling extremely sad because of them. And I understand, I know why they are doing it because everyone explained me and so on. But I really had the problem because according to my values, they were suffering. And it was like, it influenced really my comfort zone.
I think it is about education more, how to teach the other, how to respect the other. And in history, what we learn, it is all about conflict between different religious groups, different countries, and it was always this conflict and war appeared because either to search for fortune or to increase the number of membership in this or the church or this religion or whatever. But recently it has been changed a little bit. I mean, even in some more so-called secular countries, in some countries, some religious group cannot have their own beliefs or their own existence while it is so-called secular country, which somehow, or they say that there is respect of different religions, but they cannot practice their own religion in this because of the phobia or xenophobia, or they are afraid about their existence or affecting on this country. But I remember in an example of some kind of mistolerance or not understanding the other. I remember a professor in Glasgow, in Scotland. He is Jewish, and there were the football teams, Rangers and Celtic. These are Protestant and these are Catholic. And if you wear the wrong T-shirt in the wrong neighborhood, you will be beaten. And someone hold him and say, "Are you Catholic or Protestant?" Say, "I'm Jewish." Say, "Okay, you are Catholic or Protestant." You don't know what is it. So it goes on that in their mind they don't know what is the other, and they feel that they are always in conflict because of this. Yeah. And in France, for example, it is secular, but the girls cannot wear a veil in the public schools. It is not accepted, while the countries say that accepting the other religion, but some girls cannot practice whatever they are pushed to do it or not, but these are their religious beliefs to do it, but it is not, so-called respected by the state to be done. In other countries, it is must mention their religion. And for example, in Egypt, Baha'is cannot mention their religion in the ID because it is mentioned either Christian or. And the government say we have only three, either Christian or Jewish or Muslim. But
they accepted.
They accept no one to put anything. Exactly. To have empty space for this after a lot of this. So it is how they receive it or perceive on it or the different approaches. It is needed to be work, and it is not in just small group of people. It is something big because it is something that we have. Legacy of thousands of years of different misunderstanding and conflict.
Question?
Any more questions? Okay, I think we reached a possible understanding. We understood that we. Oh, okay.
The problem is that now we hear about intercultural dialogue. We have sometimes hear about meetings, different like interfaith or intercultural dialogue, but the problem is that it's not. It's only some people are meeting. Then the other people, for example, they don't hear that. It is 2 minutes at the news. Well, most of the other news is about the war. the conflicts in the world, you know. So there must be a way to promote this intercultural dialogue. It's not only a meeting; it can be promoted in different ways to be reached to more people, those people who would be interested. But like what you have said, we are here because we are open for other cultures. So it is the meeting is not for us. We must think here of how to promote it there or at home. You mean? So therefore, we need to find a way. It is, I'm sure it is not our target at the moment to do this, but it is how to think of ways to promote this to the others at home.
It's a very important issue. I would say that the great representatives of each religion should give the example. If they met together frequently to debate sincerely between them, his followers would see an example and would see that it's normal, that they would consider that it's normal and natural to sit together and to speak with each other, even when we have different spiritual ways or different religions. But the problem is that the great representatives, they don't give the example as much as they should give. It's my own idea. If frequently the Pope, the Dalai Lama, I don't know the others, but the big representatives, they really meet together and show to their followers that this is a way. If each religion would consider the interface dialogue as a way of practicing the religion itself, not something, I would say, not just an attachment, appendice, not just an attachment to our spiritual or religious practice, but a way of developing our spiritual practice. This would give a stronger impact on the followers, the people. I think if we are religious, we should demand, we should ask our representatives to sit together more often, more frequently, not just one time a year, but we should try to ask them to organize regular meetings that can show to everyone that is following them that this is something natural, that this is something good, something important. And also maybe it would be very nice if we could do pilgrimages together. Together. If, for instance, Buddhists and Christians and Jews and so on could go to Mecca. And if the others could go, I don't know, to Bodh Gaya, to the place where the Buddha was enlightened. Something like that. Something like that could show to the world that this is something natural. But this depends from the representatives. And this is not easy because some of them are not quite disposed to do this. It's sad that we should say that something they try to promote the opposition and not the coming together.
I want to add something. I agree with what you see, but it's not only the believers. Because sometimes you may be in a Muslim country, for example, in a Muslim community, you may be not a really believer or you are not practicing Islam really, but still you are affected. For example, when you are sometimes when you feel some problems in the planes, it would have Mediterranean features. And there was Korea, he is Muslim because of the shape, the features, he's a Muslim. So you have to be a Muslim, although maybe you are not, or you are not practicing legal Islam. So you are affected when the opposite of dialogue. If there is no dialogue, you are affected, although you are not really a believer of the Islam or whatever. When we talk about Europe, we are talking about Christianity. Although when you visit Europe, you feel that not everybody, they are not, even for me, it's, recently I know that we are talking about different sectors of Christianity as different religions, and in the state there were war between religions, For us, they are Christians, but for them it is not one Christianity, it is different religion. So I think it's responsibility for everybody to think and to push for dialogue, because we are affected anyway.
Yeah, I remember a friend, Egyptian Christian, who was in New York after 9/11. He went to church to pray and he was arrested because of his look. He's Middle Eastern, while he's Christian, and he entered the church to pray himself, but prove it.
But I was asked also on the border in US, am I Christian or Muslim? I told them I'm Christian, and they told, do you have cross to prove it? Why I should prove it?
It's your problem.
Should I say or you?
No,
First, I want to say that I really think that there is a big difference between being religious and being part of a community, a religious community. There is a big difference between being Muslim in myself and being part of the mosque. We were talking about different kinds of things. Also, I think you said that it's part of the leaders should take this initiative first and meet together and show the people. But my beliefs is different. My beliefs is that the leader represents the people. So if the people is changing, then the leaders needs to change, or else they will be replaced. Last, I want to say that religion and it's very personal, and I think it's my way of being Muslim is probably not as any other Muslim in the world. And sometimes I hear that someone have been living in a Muslim country and then they think they have the knowledge of what I believe in, and it's like being raped. I don't know. Just because I'm talking to you doesn't mean that I know how Buddhist people are or how every Buddhist people. It's very personal, and it should be, when someone is speaking about their religion, it's very sensitive and it's very, it's personal. So knowledge, yes, I can read in a book or I can talk to people, but still when I meet another person, I don't know anything about his religion just because he calls himself a Muslim or a Buddhist. For example, one example that about the meat of the pork. Now, okay, in that time it was considered to be not so healthy, perhaps. My point of view is that it's for a different reason. It's because of soul, and because of that they say that the soul of the pig is much more like a human being. It has much more feelings. It's more. So this is one of the reasons. Also, they say that pork and not eating pork and not drinking blood or something to do with blood, because the way I think that is, it's because of the soul was supposed to be in the blood. This is why you have to remove all of the blood, not to interfere with the soul. And this is probably not, I don't know, you understand, everything can be interpreted in different ways.
religion has some rules. Maybe you say for personality, but I don't think so because all religions, if you say I Muslim or Christian or Buddhism, you need to pray something for about your religions. If you say my just for my personality, it is different. I think.
But I guess there is well interpretation of the religion.
Yeah.
I mean, there is well interpretation of the religion, like the personal interpretation and personal involvement in the religion. And I mean, one person can be involved till this level, and one person wants to be involved like this.
Of course.
And I guess this is what you are as well, saying that each person is different as well because of the. But as well, okay, it's my opinion, but it's like each person is different because as well involvement in the religion.
Perhaps involvement. It's a way, a relationship between.
Yeah.
With that you have something that you compare to. Okay, this is how good, and okay, I choose to be like this. But maybe mine like this is as far. This is how I should be, and this is not. There is some other steps that I should do. Maybe this way of being. This is my religion. It's very personal, and it's very. This is why always when we have conversations about religion, it becomes very sensitive, and it becomes in a certain way that if someone says no, don't believe this, it's like being raped, and this is why it affects us so much when we speak. A lot of times I can talk to someone, and that someone, especially actually from the same religion, that I say something and he says no, this is not
It's
true.
the same situation with the colors. We talk about in general culture and religion as a color, as Gonzalo example. So now just imagine that you are one color, I am another color, and then it's the same. With the question of your beliefs, you want a white color to make in your color or to mix. I don't know. It's the same. It's just interpersonal.
Yeah, but just for the same example of pork, there is a religion. So if you are a follower of the religion, so you have the belief of this religion. Either you are so much believer or you are less believer, but there is some basics that you share with the other people who follow the same religion. At least this is the main basic in your religion that you have. So if it is mentioned that you should not eat the dead thing, the blood, to drink the blood and eat pork. So it is a basic, so you should not do it. Either it is in this year or after 5,000 years or 100 years ago, it is the same. This is the belief that you have. But if you are like, you think that you should do this or do this activity or do that, that doesn't mean that you have to create a new religion by your own and to ask people to be follower of your religion. It is another sect or another belief in part of this religion. So just you are sharing the same beliefs in the same religion because you are a believer. Either the degree of believer, it is something that you, in Islam, you don't decide it by yourself. It is God who will judge you. You are this level or higher or less, it is different. But it doesn't mean to create another new thing or something. But the same thing, you have your own beliefs. It doesn't mean that you have to impose it to others to believe it. They have their freedom to choose because everybody have his own brain to choose what he wants to be part of this or not. It doesn't mean that I must be follower of it. And this is the main problem of the conflict that is created. Everybody wants others to follow his own belief, to feel more stronger, to feel more richer, to feel many things. This is the main problem.
On that ground, I don't believe that this kind of dialogue between the heads of the churches and the main religions can be possible. Because there was once Eric von Däniken, I think, he wrote this story that the head of the church, the head of Muslims, and head of, I think, Jews, they met in the future, and the people in one time they were stopping doing their activities, and everybody started to pray, but to do only one God who've been out there, and they were just expressing themselves differently, but still believing in one God.
So I think that this kind of dialogue is not impossible because everybody wants to be independent. We can just like base everything on respect, but Christian going to Mecca is like it's totally different things. It's impossible because we'll lose our traditions, and we don't want to lose our traditions. That is my point of view.
No, you don't lose your tradition.
Why you have to lose?
Yeah.
You are
Because,
just,
well,
when you are reading the book, it doesn't mean that you are losing yourself. You are just getting another
Knowledge.
yes, but you can get the respect, but you cannot understand exactly the same thing. Because you've been raised in the culture that they all showed you how you're supposed to think in general about some religion, about the God. And in a different country, they show you differently. So if you would like to have a common ground, it's impossible because you're already influenced by the culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's also about the question of power, because heads of religions, they are really powerful, and religion itself, and believing it's an act itself is very powerful. So it's also about politics. And
Yeah,
And it depends why you want to know, just for knowledge or something else. It depends a lot on you, why you read a book to know more about the other religions, just to get acquainted to another religions, what's going on there, or to have another reason to change yourself, or I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm Muslim. I read the Bible, but that doesn't mean that I will tell to be Christian. It is I know from getting this knowledge, and in Islam there is no pope, there is no high supreme power that you are following. So it is different. I mean, who will be the leader? It is different from one religion to another. There is pope for different churches. Each church in Christianity, there is different sects. Each of them have their own pope in different countries. In the one for Catholics in Rome is different than the one for Orthodox in different countries. The Russian Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, it's changing. Each of them having their own pope. So either it is the own Bible, the own New Testament they have believing in. It is different interpretation for different, and having this own power with their own believers, and to from the other outside from this club to read about it. It doesn't mean that I'm going to follow any of them. It's just about knowledge, to respect. I visit churches, I like, in this country they have this kind of pictures about something, in another country they having another to express their culture, and this affect. But in education to kids, I can tell them, no, this is the enemy. You have to kill them. It is different. Then this is your friend that you have to learn from them. It is totally different how to interpret it to your own group of other followers of other religion. But sometimes the leaders of different religious groups tell that these are the enemies, you have to fight them, you have, or to create an enemy to be more stronger, or to have more believers or followers to your church, to gain more money, to gain more power, to gain more political influence. It is different from one place to another. It doesn't always mean the same. For all the time, it is nothing the same everywhere. This is so respect, and to have the nice picture with different colors is more important to give it to the kids. Otherwise, it will be mixed together, and everybody will like to push the other to follow their own beliefs, which is not the same.
What some of you said is pushing me to put you one question. I put to myself, and this is it really an advantage, or is it a disadvantage to have culture or religious identity? Or is it both things? At the same time, one advantage, and at the same time, a disadvantage. It's really important to have a culture or religious identity.
Is it possible without it?
What I would say, yes.
Really?
As a Buddhist, I'm trying to be not a Buddhist. I'm trying to go beyond Buddhism.
In that case, your identity is to go against something.
No, it's just to have an identity, either culture or religious or personal identity, is to be something. So to think of me as separated from all others all the other things. So what I would like to be is what Portuguese poet said, is Fernando Pessoa, maybe you heard about him. We should be everything in all possible manners. We should be everything. We should be and feel everything in all possible manners. My goal is this. I don't know if it is possible, but I'm trying to achieve this using the Buddhist way. I don't know, maybe by other ways it is possible. So I'm not content, I'm not satisfied with having either a personal or a cultural or a religious identity. I'm not satisfied by being Paulo Borges. I'm not satisfied by being just a Portuguese. I'm not satisfied by being just a Buddhist. I'd like to be, I'd like to experience all the other ways of being a human being. Or even I would like to go beyond being a human being. Because this is already one limit, one limitation. And I think there's something inside us, all of us, that has no limits at all. I feel that there's something inside all sentient beings that is infinite. Or could infinite be catched and or caught in one personal identity, in one cultural identity, in one religious identity? I don't know what you think, what you feel about this, but I'm really curious.
It's very interesting, this issue, because it has to be with detachment. And I heard just yesterday a very interesting explanation about detachment. Detachment has 3 levels. And the last one is this level of detachment of all names. The first is detachment of material things. Second, detachment of the benefits that we can gain in the other world. And the third is detachment of all names. Something
just quite philosophical point of view.
Yeah, I would like to understand.
yes.
It's
very
I think we are all fighting against fighting or relating to reality, or in this is also always a problem of language.
It depends from point of view. You know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, for example, if I am, I can say in front of everybody, I'm not religious. In my family, we are like I'm 5th generation of being atheist. Then I'm finding out, like being atheist and like really having quite open point of view to different religions. I'm finding out that everybody in this line, by accident somehow, but everybody they are baptized. Everybody. Even nobody of us are going to church. Nobody are celebrating Christian peace.
Easter.
Wherever. But then, for me it's not a problem to respect another person. It's not a problem for me to talk, you know. It was a moment after Soviet Union crashed, like, it appeared religious in the school, just by moment. And I find out that me and just few other guys, we are like not religious. We don't have religion. And then I was pushed to go to religion classes, very nicely. And after it, they offered to burn us on the fire, you know, like in the Middle Ages. So it changed everything like this. And I think being without being, this is philosophical point of view. This is possible to make a shock for the brains, but sometimes I think there is no sense to make a shock. Sometimes it's much more easier when you're coming with open hands and you're talking.
Yeah, but
This is my
It's also a question whenever you are able to choose, you know.
Yeah.
Like you are not able in many cases, so it's like you are in a situation when there is no choice. So for you, so it just you had before like your grandfathers and your grandmothers and so on and so forth to in particular religion. So and you are raised already with that.
But that's
Even-
the religions are based on it.
Yeah.
We were baptized like this, just
And
kids.
you know
Nobody
nothing.
asked us. We
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
You have documents.
Yeah. And then officially I'm Catholic. Even I never practiced
Mhm.
in my life, but officially I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Of
So
course, I have some
She's
knowledge.
a Christian by birth.
Yeah, you are forced by birth. Yeah.
Yeah, but I personally think that the problem appears when you consider religion as a goal, but not as a tool to reach something more common.
Yeah, but for human being, it's always the need to being something, to be belonging to something. If not religious, you are belonging to your country. You believe in some political party. You are believing or following football game. In Facebook, there is someone who created the religion against to believe in meatballs. It is different. Yeah, something like this. So there is the idea of belonging of something as a human being because you are weak for
All of needs.
not
But
only
this is
basic
normal
needs.
human need. This is how
This is
people are.
one of basic needs to
Yeah.
belong to something.
This is psychology,
Yes.
and this is why what you cannot. Even when you are saying that, like I'm totally out of everybody, you just can go alone to the island and to see wherever you want, you know. Because when you would attach with somebody, then you are starting to be or not to be, you know. But it's still it is classes and some groups.
But that's the point. Why do you need to be something? Why do you need to belong to something? Isn't that a weakness at the same time?
Yes, it
Yes,
is weakness
it-
because from two points of view, when you belong to any group, you feel safer. At the same time, when you belong to any group, you have something to lose.
Of course. Of course.
So,
Yeah,
the tricky thing is whenever this group, even you would like to belong to this group, is accepting you as a member of this group as well.
Yeah. This is other.
I think this is one of the paradox of dealing with reality. We need language in order to reach each other, but that language, as much as it is evolved and it grows, it becomes also a tool of separation. So we are living in this constant dialectic among each other. So that's why I was trying to say that we are fighting against reality, because in a way we are trying to reach a common goal with some common tools, but these tools are also dividing us. So even in that tool of that exercise of silence divides some of us because we don't understand what's going on. So after that we need to bring language again. So and this is never-ending cycle and
Never-ending story.
never-ending story.
But the most important thing is not that we should find a common ground. It's we should
No,
more.
that's boring.
Yeah, it's very
That's boring.
I think for us, all of us is somehow working with different projects and with different people, and we are in a position of power. Every one of us, we are in a position to affect many people, and I think it's the most simple thing should be the matter of respect and the matter of
Responsibility also.
yeah.
I think the most important is to understand that it's all about language, and we need that language, but we also need to have the values of respect, of detachment to accept the difference, and even to accept that our identity can separate us from the others. I was using the proposal that was put into the table, but we could find other words. We could find, for me, I don't use the word God. It doesn't make sense. but I use the word intelligence because intelligence is all around. It's here right now, trying to find something, to grasp reality and to create something. And we are, in a way, I think we are all co-creators of reality, because we can make it every time, and we are doing it right now. So, of course, we have an heritage, we have a culture, and we have to preserve that, because there are amazing poets and religious leaders that created some languages that are very powerful tools. But at the same time, we must learn them. When we read Shakespeare, it's very hard to grasp the subtleness of what he's saying. But we need to make that effort, and for me that is intelligence, that is this impulse to go much further into reality. And we cannot kill Shakespeare, or we cannot kill Buddha or Muhammad, because we have to respect that. But we have to also accept that if we accept it too much, it will divide us. So this is a game, I think, we are playing with the reality, coming back to the original.
But what I wanted to say is that we should more try to focus on how we can make our programs or the environment in our organizations very non-religious or non. Oh, I want to say it in Swedish, but we are in a position that we all think, because we travel a lot, that we understand a lot of things, but actually we should try to first of all, I think it's three steps. First of all, I need to understand what my prejudice about the different religions is. Secondly, I need to understand how I am affecting how my religion is affecting my way of being and my way of working. And third of all is I need to try to step away from that when I'm having a kind of a workshop or in my line of work or in my line of to be so acceptable so that anyone can join our things without I hate English. I hate English.
That's all we have.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, but it's because I think that we will in these discussions we have a very powerful group here with many people from different organizations, from different countries, working with young people, and we can try to learn from each other how they work, or I don't know how we can avoid this. For example, we have a simple thing like in the kitchen that they serve pork and non-pork or vegetarian food, and many times when we travel to different places, this is out. They never serve vegetarian food, or it can be very simple things, and to make everyone feel that they are.
Yeah, respectful. Sometimes with the food is really tricky thing.
The pork eater.
It's like, in some cultures it is really less of food which is really just vegetarian. And lack of knowledge of people who are staying in the kitchen, who are vegetarian, who are Muslim, who are just another kind of people, like who are vegans, for example. Yeah? They have to have knowledge, but after it, they don't know what to give. You know? Then it's happening that vegetarian person just offered for him chicken, because chicken is not meat.
Yeah, chicken is.
But it depends on point of view.
No, but then we come to the knowledge.
Yeah, but then it's like just you have to know. It takes time. So.
For example, with the food, we had a very nice project, and we had one Muslim. And I was trying to a cooker explain what is being Muslim, that they don't eat pork. She didn't get. So So he is vegetarian. No, just no pork, but he eats beef, chicken, and so on. So he's vegetarian. No, the only way I could understand, I lied and I said he has allergy on pork.
This is easiest way.
Bravo! Now I understand.
But try to explain to people that we eat we don't eat meat normally if it's not killed in a certain
No, in this
ritual.
way he wasn't
Yeah, but
I
that's-
hate to interrupt, but one of our guests has to leave.
Yeah.
Our guest has to leave. We can continue this discussion until dinner time, or maybe go out to the sun and.
Can we say that at 10 o'clock we will have auction, and during this period, well, at 10 o'clock we will have our auction, and please meet.
Let's say goodbye to our.